Breakfast with Bridgett here on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. I'm your host, Bridgett Ellison. Glad you could be with us on this bright and early Monday, April 22nd, 2024. Also, happy Earth Day, and hope that you're getting a good start to the day. And I think that you could say that, things sort of started off early for Earth Day with the noise and sound effects. At least for me, I woke up to thunder. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is in for Candace this morning. He's in Pinpoint Weather Center, and that woke me up this morning. I don't know about you.
No, you were one of the few. It was only one little cell that was down by your area, but most
Okay.
went without getting woken up this morning. Some people in Marion County late last night might have trouble going to bed. There were a few storms out there, but yeah, it was few and far between where the thunder was anyway. But a little bit of some of us got some rain anyway.
Yes, I needed some. And, I thought to myself, because I'm half asleep, I thought, who's moving the trash can around at this hour?
You can
But
take that cold front.
yeah, so we do have a change in our forecast right now. It's like a little cooler.
It is, yeah, at least for most of us. So it hasn't crossed yet in parts of Osceola and Brevard, so I've been wondering what the heck we're talking about. But it is certainly a little bit cooler the further northwest you are. Right now in Daytona Beach with our Daytona Toyota DeLand Kia Skycam, we're back to the lower 60s. So that cooler air is certainly funneling in. We have that breeze out of the northwest now at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. That wind shift, again, is really the big thing there. Upper 50s and low 60s for us across the board. And this is what we were just talking about. Lakeland and Melbourne, we're still holding tight around 70 degrees. So that's where we haven't really seen that change just yet. But it is coming. It's not a big blast of cold air by any means. Certainly up where Jamie Say is in Cleveland for the Magic game, it is frigid up on those parts, 30s and 40s off of Lake Erie. The chill is not coming here to that degree, but it is going to be much, much cooler. Now, the air is going to be a little drier with this. So the humidity that we started to get back as we moved over the weekend, it's going to go away a little bit because you see right there, the clouds that are in the play they're just going to be eaten up by that drier air. There's 7 o'clock for you on your Tuesday morning as we shift our wind off of the north and east off of the Atlantic. We'll generate a few of those puffy clouds. You see them kind of pinwheeling through, but by and large, most of us are going to be sunny again tomorrow. Look at this, 79 degrees for us later today. Big change. Again, it's not cold by any means, but when you were just in the low to mid 90s for a few days last week, things are going to feel a little bit different when you're struggling to get out of the 70s. Again, first with some clouds around, and then gradually with some increasing sunshine for us again as we move through the day, as we move later on through the day. 20% shot for showers to continue. That's mainly where that front is right now. So for us in about Yeehaw Junction, Holopod, Deer Park, Point Siena, into Melbourne, Palm Bay, Mico, that's where we're going to have that 20% shot for the next hour or 2 hours or so. And then by lunch, everybody's dry. So again, and if you're northwest of I-4 in Marion County or in Lake County, in Montverde, into Claremont, you're good to go. Winter Garden, you're dry. Apopka, you're going to be dry the rest of today. And then as we move into Tuesday and Wednesday, things are looking very, very nice. We're going to get back to the mid-80s. The Magic come home and play a game, hopefully with the series tied at 1. We all know that it did not go our way the other day in Cleveland, but hopefully that changes tonight. Game 2 is tonight, of course, and then back home on Thursday and then again on Saturday. So if you're planning on partaking in any of the festivities outside of the arena, things are going to be looking pretty good Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah, and you're a big Magic fan, so how are you feeling after that? Okay.
I'm hoping, yeah. It's the first time back in the playoffs, obviously, with the new team. That oftentimes happens. That it's a different world in the playoffs. So they have been rudely introduced, and hopefully they bounce back and catch on to the pace of play and all that stuff. And I think it'll happen. We'll tie it up tonight.
Are you going to try to get out there to the Kia Center?
It'd be nice. I'm probably not going to make it to the games, but I'm going to be watching them for sure.
And you've been busy because we have this video of you from the air show. Tell us what happened. You got to take a special flight.
Very, very special flight. It was an honor to be on this plane. This is a B-25. And for those that don't know, this plane played a pivotal role in World War II and us winning World War II. It was one of the first planes to stage the retaliation from Pearl Harbor. The pilot you just saw there in the video, he told me that right after the attack, it sunk a Japanese sub. And then, of course, if you've seen the movie Pearl Harbor or know the history, now I know Pearl Harbor, the movie itself, isn't that historically accurate, but at the end, there's something known as the Doolittle Raid. And this is one of the biggest things in American history here, especially for World War II, because at that point, Americans only knew defeat. Of course, we just went through Pearl Harbor. We were losing these other battles. But then this plane here that's not designed to be taken off an aircraft carrier was flown off of an
Mm.
aircraft carrier to attack the Japanese in Tokyo. And that pretty much was the turning point, at least in the Pacific, for World War II. So to be able to see this up close, a plane that was this type of plane anyway, that was involved in that and just so historic, especially on the Pacific side, was amazing. The flight was great. I mean, the plane was built in the 30s and early 40s, and it handled very, very well. And it's just such a pretty plane. So it was an honor to be on that flight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it just like I just imagine being in awe. I mean, that they have everything replicated right there down to the weapons, Jonathan.
Yeah, they had the bombs in there. They were actually were signed by some of the pilots from the raid and from people in World War II, the
Wow.
soldiers in World War II. So it was really cool to see that. And it's just, it was really hot in there. Okay. So it was a hot day when
Okay.
we went out for the air show. And that was under pristine, perfect conditions. I couldn't imagine. Plus,
I
the quarters in
know.
there were very small. You saw some of the video, being a soldier 6 foot tall, being in there and having to maneuver inside of that, plus while getting shot at.
I
And it's just
know.
like you really have, it really just takes you into only thinking about what those men and women were
Mhm.
doing at that time. And it was just unbelievable.
I mean,
One
it's
of the
just
other,
yeah. Mhm.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking, like you said, it wasn't even made to fly off of an aircraft carrier. So just
Yeah.
that itself, the risk of that, and then being in the midst of battle, just the
And
immense pressure. I mean, they are truly heroes.
they are truly
Hmm.
heroes. And I asked the weather question to the pilot. I was like, okay, how are the planes kind of handling weather, and if there was anything
Hmm.
involved? He told me that they got really lucky because they had to do a lot of training, of course, to fly these planes off of an aircraft carrier. And of course, they were all successful in doing so. But they had to advance in the terms of the Doolittle raid anyway. They had to advance the attack because the fleet was discovered by the Japanese. So they had to
Mm.
either abort the mission or go through with it. Well, everybody volunteered and they were like, we're going for it. One of the things that actually helped them, there was a storm system out there,
Mm.
and it was really, really windy at the time, and they had a tailwind that was helping to push these
Wow.
planes off of the aircraft carrier. So they
Mm.
got a little bit of assistance from Mother Nature because they had to advance the mission and they were in the storm system. So they had the forward motion of the aircraft carrier, and then they had the extra push, if you will, from the storm system to get these planes off the carrier. So everything kind of aligned to help with the mission and to get that surprise attack on Tokyo in retaliation for Pearl Harbor.
Wow. May the wind be at your back. Wow.
Yeah, and it was
Ugh.
that day, and
Yeah.
thankfully it was.
Mm. Wow, Jonathan,
It's
how
crazy.
special. What a great memory for you to
It was
make out
awesome.
there.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can get out there every year. That's so cool. Maybe get on a different one next year.
That'd be great. That'd be great. I'm up for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, your weather-wise is coming up in a few minutes too, so we'll
It
see you
is,
in a
yeah.
bit.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right. Take care.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Bridget.
Jonathan. Okay, we want to get over to Trooper Steve, and it's been a busy morning. And how are things looking right now? Is it getting better or worse?
Things are pretty good right now.
Okay.
We're kind of routine Monday. It's a little gloomy out there. The only thing that we have a high level of is jealousy from Trooper Steve to Jonathan Kagis and his flight this weekend. Man, I was jealous, but
Wow.
he had a great time.
And the
Great,
story
phenomenal
too.
time.
Wow.
Right, right. So we can jump to traffic. DOT cam showing that one crash still hanging out along I-4 right now and the Central Florida Parkway. Department of Transportation camera showing it's on the right shoulder, and it looks like we had a vehicle and some type of dump truck involved out in that area. The cones are there, the lights are flashing. Make sure you give them just a little bit of room there. But the good thing is, look, where that crash is, my map is not picking up any delay east or westbound, so you're doing pretty good. 528 Williamsburg area. Good morning to you guys. Central Florida Parkway. As you approach John Young, we had an earlier crash out there, but they cleared that up. Rio Grande and 40th, no lanes blocked here. And a slight delay southbound along Hiawassee as you approach Colonial for a crash that's down there as well. No major issues. We are starting to see some of that drive time pick up, especially coming in from the attraction. So if you're visiting us from out of town, first, welcome. Thanks for watching News 6, and welcome to the traffic. Eastbound I-4, Osceola Parkway to Colonial. So that's the attractions area to downtown Orlando. It's almost a 40-minute drive. That's about average on a Monday. DOT cam also picking up these cloudy skies out there this morning, and we're slow westbound 408 through the Crystal Lake Toll Plaza. You can see right there that traffic moving real slow. A lot of people using the E-Pass this morning. Again, make sure you slow your speeds as you go through the toll booths. They're not at the normal speed limit. Azalea Park, you guys are in the clear. 417 northbound into Seminole County. Not that bad this morning, but a lot of random delays. So just be careful out there. Wedgefield, Bithlow, no issues through the Christmas area. And Titusville, good morning to you guys. No issues along US 1 this morning. Or any earlier crashes that were overnight were cleared out. And then the biggest delay I'm picking up right now on the westbound side is going to be that Lake Mary area. Your drive times across Central Florida, not horrible. Not great. I'm just going to say it's Monday. So just be careful out there. No major shutdowns. And then you can see 417 and the Florida Turnpike checking out pretty good out there also. Today, Bridgett, on patrol, we're going to be talking about some basic stuff. I call it my job security streams. Four-way stops. And what are the rules? Like, to me, it's obvious. But to a lot of people,
you need to know what's right and what's left, right?
Right. Bridgett coming in hot. Yes, you got to know your left and your right. You got to know what a complete stop is. It's not a yield. And we'll just break that down nice and simple today at 8:30. And it'll be pretty smooth ride today. So before I go, though, I wanted to plug real quick. I'll use 10 seconds of your time. So over the weekend, I did flight orientation with Honor Flight of Central Florida. Photojournalist Goose Goslin and I are getting ready for a flight this weekend where we get to take about 30 veterans that have never seen their monuments of this country into Washington, D.C. And I got to meet Brian Francis. He is a Korean War veteran, and he's also Vietnam. So it's going to be an amazing time this upcoming weekend. We get to take 3 World War II vets with us as well. So it's going to be a good time.
I can't wait to hear more about this. That is a beautiful thing that they're doing, and that'll be an amazing trip for you all.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's going to be emotional. It's going to be historical, and I think the camaraderie is going to be something unmatched. So I'll let you knock out the rest of this Monday, ma'am.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon. Thank you, Trooper Steve.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we do want to get to a bit of news. Then we have a special guest this morning talking about kids and entrepreneurship. So we'll get to that in just a bit. But first, opening statements, a historic day in New York. Those are set to get underway in the first criminal trial against a former president, Donald Trump, facing 34 felony counts related to alleged hush money payments that were paid to an adult film actress before the 2016 election. And Mark Lehman takes a closer look at what to expect in court today.
With a jury chosen last week, opening statements are set to begin this morning in former President Donald Trump's historic criminal trial in Manhattan.
The defendant repeatedly made false statements on New York business records.
Trump is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Prosecutors accuse him of funneling hush money to adult film star Stormy Daniels to hide an alleged affair before the 2016 presidential election. Trump denies the affair and has pleaded not guilty, calling the allegations politically motivated.
This is really a concerted witch hunt, very simple.
We've learned the prosecution is expected to call former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker as its first witness. He's expected to testify about an alleged catch-and-kill scheme to purchase negative stories about Trump during the 2016 campaign and suppress them. As the trial moves forward, the big question that remains is, will the former president testify in his own defense?
He has made so many social media posts that in cross-examination, he could be shown to be totally inconsistent. I would never put him on the witness stand if he were my client.
Okay, so we'll keep you posted on what happens today in New York. Now we want to get to Damen Bramfield, who owns Rogue Works Home Services based in Orlando, and it's a company that gives home repairs and has a growing amount of teams helping out with that. But he is here with us this morning to talk about mentorship. Good morning, Mr. Bromfield.
Hey, good morning, Bridget. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. By the way, just real quickly, you're not the only one who heard the thunderstorms this morning, so
Okay.
that startled me
Yes.
as well.
Yes. I heard a couple rumbles and I just thought at first it was a trash can and then it woke me up and I thought, oh wow, it's raining. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, anyway, it's good to have you on this morning, and you are, you're a business owner, but you are working toward giving back more in the community, especially when it comes to mentoring young people about business ownership and entrepreneurship. How did that come about?
Yeah, well, you know what? My experience was that of where I wanted to get some help. I was looking for mentorship, and I realized how hard and how difficult it was
Mm-hmm.
to find good mentorship. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of times in this kind of situation, you have people that gatekeep a lot of information, and they think
Mm-hmm.
that they can't share, their experiences. And this is where I've had my series of successes and failures, and this is where I've learned a lot through the course of time. Where we've kind of honed it in at this point, and I wanted to be able to give back and share some of that because I know what the struggles are like when when a business does fail. And I'll just share just some sobering facts is that 20% of businesses in the first year fail. 40% fail in the first 3 years, and another whopping 50% in 5 years. So when you think about that, I mean, it's pretty impactful because you hear that just that number and a statistic, but the reality is there's a lot of pain and suffering behind that when a business fails because by the time it gets to the point where it has failed, you're talking about you ran out of money, your credit is is maxed out. There's a lot of impact to that. So if you can help individuals better prepare for something like that and avoid those catastrophes towards the end, to me, I feel like I'm playing my small part in helping that from happening because it's not easy, and people, they sort of, you know, don't give that value to the impact of what that causes for families and individuals. So yeah.
And so, when it comes to students, you've been able to meet with some already and talk to them about business entrepreneurship. So, what's that been like?
Yeah, no, that's the part that's really rewarding because up until this point, it's been a lot of, say, for instance, one-on-one mentorship where I've been finding individuals that have come to me and said, "Hey, I like what you've done. How do I do that same thing?" And again, what my attempt and my mission is to give them a realistic impression of what business ownership is like because too often people think, okay, it's going to be either easy or it's something simple to do, but the reality is there's a lot of work behind it, and you really have to be ready for it. So my first thing I always tell everybody is, you've got to make sure you have self-discipline. If you don't have self-discipline, that doesn't mean you can never get into business, but maybe right now is not the right time for you. You got to, develop that grit first and then go into it. So it's rewarding in that I do see where individuals that I've come across are hungry for that kind of information, and being able to help guide them along and sort of shortcut some of those learning curves has been very rewarding. It's been very rewarding. Yeah.
What about when it comes to telling them what to focus on or how to juggle different things? Because oftentimes when you are a business owner, you are right there, doing the hands-on work, but also doing the paperwork and managing, what's happening at the work sites, but also managing what's happening in the office and making sure that, all the business work gets done on the back end too.
Yeah, and that's actually, it's a good thing you brought that up because too often, everybody tries to, at least in the beginning stages, to do everything. And don't get me wrong, in the beginning you do have to because if it's a one person operation, you're everything, you're marketing, your sales, your finance, you're the whole 9 yards. But if you're lucky enough to get to that very next stage, part of what I try to inform everybody of is that there is resources available. There are tools and options available, especially today, between things, with artificial intelligence and a lot of outsourcing companies. For a fraction of what you normally would pay to have somebody in your business do a particular function, you could get it for pennies on the dollar. But if you don't know that, you don't know how to look that up. You don't know how to find that out or how to evaluate which one works, which one doesn't work. But the reality is these answers are out there. But especially with as I said before, with kids, which is where my focus has been. Somebody has to show them that they're not going to learn it in school. I did my bachelor's in business administration, UCF. The reality is, did I learn anything there that's going to help me with this? I mean, yeah, some, but the real meat and the potatoes is getting into it and then having the connection with individuals that can actually point out some of these benefits.
What do you talk to them about when it comes to learning trades and sometimes, the value in having your trade or having some of those certifications right out of high school?
Yeah, no, that's important because whether you want to, there's working in the business and working on the business, and even if you want to get to the point where you're working on the business in terms of just ownership, you still have to know your trade. You've got to know what you're doing, because the reality is, no one's going to care about your business like you, and it's too easy to get into a situation where you're relying on other individuals to tell you how your business should run if you don't know how to do it. So, the getting into various trades, the easiest approach is, what I say is any business that you get into, find another business that you can actually start at, even if it's the entry level position, just get into it. So for you to be able to understand how it works. Because again, too often, just from what I see, is there's a lot of thoughts and ideas about, what they want to get into, but they haven't really thought it through. They haven't really had the actual experience of working in the particular industry. And that does change things once you get into it. So it's a fundamental. I'm sorry, I apologize. It's a thing that is very critical because they're aspirational from a lot of the kids I've spoken to. They've got big dreams, they've got big hopes. They just need some direction. So part of what I'm also doing when I do this is it's also a call to action for other folks that are in my position who can actually offer mentorship and offer guidance. In that, it's not always easy for them to find you because, as a business owner, you're sort of busy, you're doing other things. But if you can make a little bit of time out of your day to just reach out and just be open to, a kid or even just another person who's looking for some help, you'll find that it's actually a very rewarding experience.
And you have some upcoming visits planned with some of the schools this summer, or you're coming up shortly, right?
Yeah, there's actually one organization that I've come to know pretty well now. It's called CLICK, Community Life Improvement Center. There's a wonderful gentleman over there by the name of Corey, great guy. But they focus not just on kids, but minorities, low-income individuals, women, just anyone in a sort of a social challenge position. That they've deemed a socially challenged position, but they have a great program that's over there. And over the course of the summer, I'm actually going to be talking with several of their groups about business ownership and some of the challenges that are involved in it, but then also some of the resources that are available. Because one popular question, just to give you an example of what I get, is, all right, well, great, I have this idea, I have this business. All right, but I have no money, and how am I going to get into this? All right, well, the reality is, well, you do have to have a little bit of money. You can't just come into it with nothing. But I mean, even just SBA programs, for instance, Small Business Administration programs. These are programs that back a loan that you might get, 85% from the government. It secures the bank a little bit more in terms of being able to lend you money. And again, the criteria for getting some of these things, it takes a little bit of work, but they are doable. They're absolutely doable. And it does give a pathway to business ownership, whether it be starting up something on your own or similar to what we did, which is an acquisition. We've gone through the process of acquiring different businesses over time. But there are avenues, there are channels. It's really just about getting that information out there in the best way possible.
Right, right. Well, this is a great way to, reach young people and make it not such a foreign entity to them at a younger age. And this is something that, so many kids can benefit from, just because many times they don't get to talk to someone unless it's someone in their family, maybe who has their own business. So it gives them a chance to make it more approachable. Well, we appreciate you stopping in to tell us about this, Damen Bramfield from RogueWorksFlorida.com. So we appreciate it, and best of luck to you. And hopefully you can get,
Absolutely.
some
Bridgett,
more
thank you so
colleagues
much.
in to
It was a
help out
pleasure.
the students. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, well, we are running out of time, but we hope that you'll remember the Insider Contest for the Orlando Science Center. Head on over to clickorlando.com/insider to sign up for some free tickets. We're giving away a family 4-pack for you to go inside and check out their new exhibit, Life. It has hundreds of animals, live animals. You can get to walk right through there, and the animals are so close you can touch them, and they might touch you. But you can enter every day through Thursday to win this pack of tickets to go to Orlando Science Center, and check that out. And it is free to become an insider. So head on over, clickorlando.com/insider to sign up. And don't forget, we're hitting the road to Montverde, 34756 zip code. And we want to hear about stories that we should be covering in that area. So let us know at clickorlando.com/hits the road. That'll do it for us. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 7:30 right here on News 6 Plus. Take care.